All right, part three of what I think you should be listening to. Now, this, like I said, I don't have a favourite band, but if one of my all-time favourite bands is this one, and I got to see them earlier this year a few times because I worked on a tour they were on, and I've seen them a few times, and I just fucking love this band. I've met them before, and they're fucking cool dudes. But one record I bought as a kid on tape, and I used to get stoned, and I used to be in this gang, and there was a few metalheads in it. They used to come to my house, and they just because I had all the vinyl, I had all the records, And there's this one record that we used to just sit there and get stoned and listen to so fucking loud. It was Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East. This is one of the best live records. I'm not that much of a fan of live records because, I never used to be, I never used to be. I am now, but I never thought they used to be captured that well. But this, oh my God. And some might say, hey, it was probably overdubbed. I don't know that. I probably should look into it, maybe, whatever. But this record, growing up as a kid, smoking weed, Unleashed in the East, this is such a fucking good record, heavy metal record. And if you're a music head or a metal head, you need this in your fucking collection. I mean, you can download it if you want, but you need to buy it and have it in your fucking collection. Look at that! What an album cover! You don't see that anymore because bands suck today because they don't listen to this. Kids now aren't listening to this; they're listening to shit. Saturation of crap, right? And I'm sticking with Judas Priest, because people say, oh, Judas Priest, I love Judas Priest. I've got fucking, I've got Painkiller, or British Steel, a bit better, and I'm not bagging those records because I love all. I don't think they've done a bad record. A lot of people bag Nostradamus, that record. I love Concept Records, so I love that record, but one of the best albums for me in Judas Priest. This, Stained Class. If you are a heavy metalhead, if you're a metalhead and you don't have this record, I'm telling you now, from Rob Wog, you're not a metalhead, you're a fuckhead. Get this fucking record into your fucking collection, you dipshit. Everyone will say, oh, I love Judas Priest, Breaking the Law. Whatever, it's a good record, that British Steel. But this, it doesn't touch these earlier records of Judas Priest. That, to me, is so before its time. And, Exciter. That's a power metal song. That's a power metal fucking record. 1978. Wait until you hear this record. If you've never heard this record, and you're calling yourself a metalhead, you're not until you've heard this fucking record and you own it. Judas Priest, Stained Class. Shut the fuck up and buy that record. And the other one is, and I fucking love this fucking record because I think it has one of the best heavy metal songs of all time. And that's a massive call. And it's Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny. Look at that fucking record cover. Yeah, man. And, I love the way they look on this. They look like weird cunts, man. Like fucking Rob Halford wears some weird shit, and you got KK wearing this weird white hat. They don't even look like a heavy metal band, but this is a fucking heavy metal record, man, that you need to have. Look at this. Look at Halford with the light. That's what heavy metal to me is, this record. Because, a lot of people say the sound of this record let it down. I don't. I fucking love how raw it is. But to me, when I said it's one of the best heavy metal, this is one of the best heavy metal albums of all time. I think. I know it's a big call, but I fucking love this band. I think this band. This is another reason why I'm doing this, because I don't think we're inventing music. So when I was a kid, metal was, music was still being invented. This was being invented, right? And oh my God. Okay, so Victim of Changes. Judas Priest, Victim of Changes. Listen to that fucking song. It's one of the best heavy metal ballads. People go, it's not a ballad. It's to me, it's a ballad. But that fucking song is so fucking heavy. And I can't say how much I love this record. It's such a good record. You need to have this in your collection. I was actually gonna do this last because it means a lot to me. This record. It's way before its time. Brilliant record, man. 76. What a fucking record. If you don't like this record and you call yourself a metalhead, sorry, you're a fuckhead. Right. Now, okay. Now this is a band I don't much like these days, and I don't like these days. I think they're shit, right? And I think they've lost the plot. And there's a bit of a story behind this one. It is. Talking about Greta, when back in the day, she used to have Central Station Records, which was a heavy metal shop where all the metalheads used to gather, and it was amazing, man. There was another one in an alleyway called Pipe Imported Records, and by a guy who owned this record store was called Daniel Janeka, and he had some great stuff in his store. And I remember walking in, and I'd never heard of this band before. I bought this when it came out, and I'd never heard of this band before. And I just looked at the cover, and I went, "How could I not have this in my collection? This has to be a good record." And by God, I was fucking right. It is Manowar, Hail to England. What an album, dude. Now, like I said, I think Manowar can eat a dick today. I think their fucking music sucks shit. But all their albums, from Fighting the World back, with Ross the Boss. In fact, if you can see, Ross the Boss signed this for me. It was an interesting one. I don't usually like going up to people, and I'm not that guy. Anyone knows me, I don't do that. But this was such a massive record to me, and Ross the Boss plays in a band called The Dictators, a punk band, which he played in before Manowar. And I think he's still in them now. He still does it. But they played in a local bar in Melbourne, and I was like, oh my God, The Dictators are playing. Oh shit, I'm going. I'm bringing it. And I just happened to bring this, didn't I? But the funny story about this one was like, so I thought, they've got some fucking crazy fans, right? So I'm thinking there's going to be some other dipshits around, and I'm like, if there's other people harassing him, I'm just going to watch him, and I'm not going to bring this record out and get it signed or anything. I didn't want to bother him. I don't want to be that punisher. So anyway, there's no one there that knows that Ross the Boss from Manowar plays in The Dictators, and they're playing at this place. This, it only holds like 300 people, this venue. So anyway, Ross the Boss is just walking around. I got there early. I know the owner of the bar. I've been going there I've been playing there since the 80s, called The Tote. But anyway, so Ross the Boss is there, and he walks past, and I'm like, hey, Ross the Boss, how you doing? And he's like, hey, how you going? And we started getting into conversation, and I said to him, hey, would you mind if you signed my record? And he's like, oh, fuck. He's like, yes. He was rapt to see a Manowar fan with that record, because I think he's proud of this record, which he should be. Anyway, so he signs a record, and then they had to do a sound check, and he got brushed away, and that was cool. But anyway, so I think he felt bad. So because later on I went to the front bar, and I'm sitting there with a mate drinking. And it was a dude that rocked up later who was into Manowar, and he came there for that reason. So there was just two of us there. And I love The Dictators, don't get me wrong. I didn't just go there for Ross the Boss. I went there for The Dictators as well. But anyway, so we're sitting at the bar, and we're just talking, and all of a sudden, Ross the Boss fucking touched me on the shoulder, and he's like, hey man, can I buy you a beer? So Ross the Boss just fucking hung out with me for like an hour, 2 hours, just talking shit about shit. What a fucking legend. So this record, to me, is a fucking must if you're a metalhead. This is such a good record, man. I can't tell you how powerful this record is. And if you've heard Manowar and you've only heard their newer stuff, and you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to fucking know. What's Rob Wog putting this record up for? Shut the fuck up. Just listen to me and put this fucking record on. Like, seriously, like, if you want to talk about ballads, Bridge of Death on this fucking record. Oh, I fucking love this record. I just want to eat it. It's such a good record. Anyway, Hail to England. Whoa. I used to think they were English, by the way, because I didn't know who the... What a fucking... I bought that for the album cover, and I thought they were English, but they're American. Alright. Okay. So I've only got a couple more bands to go through, but here's a couple of really, really cool ones that I want to end with, right? Now, I'm going to get into the... I haven't done a thrash record because thrash was a big era, but I haven't done any thrash yet. But for the people who get into thrash, like, I really want people to know what thrash is these days, because what they're playing is not thrash. I fucking hate the thrash that's going around today. All right, but I'm going to show you, this is the best one. I reckon the best thrash record of all time. Hello, Creator Pleasure to Kill. If you've not heard, if you don't own this record and you think you're a metalhead, you're a fuckhead. Because that record right there, you know what gets me about this record is this is an '86. These are three kids. They were a three-piece when they recorded. There's four people here, but a three-piece when they did this record. They were teenagers when they did this record. Teenagers wrote an album called Pleasure to Kill, and wait till you hear this fucking record. This changed my life, this record. It was a massive influence on me. I played in a band with a guy from the Cryotamy Dean and Tim from Abrimelin. But we played in a band called Conqueror back in the 80s. I think we were around for like 3 years. From 87 to 89. Whatever that is. No, 86 to 89. Whatever. But we worshipped this record. We wanted to be Creator. But an interesting thing about this is, everyone. I'm not going to bring out any Slayer records because everyone's probably heard the Slayer albums and blah blah blah. But this came out the same year as Rain and Blood, and I remember I had this. Oh shit! I had this record and I had Rain and Blood, and I'd heard this, and then I put Rain and Blood on. And I'm not bagging Rain and Blood because I think it's a kick-ass record. But this chews it up and shits it out and fucking shits it out like a bullet. And nothing against Rain and Blood because that's a fucking kick-ass record. But this came out at the same time, and I had to put Rain and Blood down for about 6 months before I could put anything else on because this was on my turntable with my bongs, getting smashed, cranking, freshing out to Create a Pleasure to Kill. And that to me is a lot of punk in this record. To me, it's a heavy metal, a thrash punk record. Another band that was like that was Artillery's first record. What a fucking album. Fear of Tomorrow. Now, that's a pinnacle record, and I think in death metal there's pinnacle albums as well. And I was going to get out Entombed's Left Hand Path, but I couldn't find it, but I've got it. And I think that's another album, but the other one is Dismember, Ever-Flowing Stream. Now, this eats people up and shits them out and farts them out like bullets. Look at this fucking record. Look at Fred Espy. Like, this is such a good death metal album. Like, it's so fucking heavy. Like, Sweden at that time just had this one studio and this one guy who just produced all these records that just seriously made these bands shine. The sound on this record sounds like you're getting fucking raped by a million chainsaws. And look at who does album covers like that now? Dan Seagrave. What a fucking legend. The guy who painted that. But Thomas, who from Sunlight Studios, who did Left Hand Path and this album, he did the Carnage. Another great record is Carnage. But this is a must. If you're into death metal and you don't have this, you're a faggot. Nothing against faggots, but you're what I call in a go fuck yourself way. You're a faggot because this is a death metal record that you need to have in your fucking collection. Righty. Right, so I've got two. I'm going to end it here because we're up for 15 minutes. I'm going to end it. I've got two more piles here, and I'm going to end it for this segment. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. I'm Rob Wog. If you haven't got these records, you fucking better have by the end of the month.